All right, guys, it is time for me to beg and plead with the Democrats because, unfortunately, I see a lot of the same mistakes being made that have been made in the past. So let me show you this. Rolling Stone has this article that they put out. Democrats' favorite research firm told them to avoid discussing Trump's rising authoritarianism and focus on tariffs instead. Dems messaging nerds urged party not to talk about Trump's military takeover. So let me read you a portion of this because it says it all here. Blue Rose Research, the firm led by Democratic establishment darling David Shore, produced a memo earlier this month digging into the effectiveness of various messages related to Trump's takeover of Washington, D.C. The firm advised that messaging around Trump's rising authoritarianism was highly unconvincing, while messages that say Trump wants to distract from his damaging tariffs or horrifying Medicaid cuts were more effective. Meanwhile, Republican messaging about how Trump is clamping down on gang violence tested through the roof. The August 15th memo, a copy of which was reviewed by Rolling Stone, could explain, at least partially, why Democrats haven't exactly been going to the mat over Trump sending the military into the nation's capital and threatening to do the same in other liberal strongholds. Now, let me point out, before we continue here, David Shore is one of the guys who had carte blanche during Kamala's campaign. People like David Shore, people like Matt Iglesias, the popularists they call themselves. And the idea is they think, oh, just lean into the things that are like already polling well, basically, is the idea. But here's the issue with that. The issue with that is that's not what the Republicans do. The Republicans are very successful hammering home a message on whichever issue they choose and driving the polls more in their direction. And even if they don't drive the polls in their direction, that doesn't stop them from trying to execute their plans. So this is a very cucked mindset because it assumes that public opinion is just this stagnant thing. It assumes that politics isn't fluid. Politics is stagnant. It is what it is. The numbers are what they are. You can't change them. It's like a law of nature. You can only tap into what is. You can't help drive the conversation, change the feelings, change the sentiment in the country. And so, but again, here's the problem. This dude had carte blanche in Kamala's 2024 campaign. And Kamala, remember, she came out the gate super hot when Tim Walz was calling Republicans weird and they were talking about how J.D. Vance fucks couches and Kamala was saying we're going to ban price gouging, and they were like 6 or 7 points up in that streak. Then all the Democratic consultant goons came in and the Biden staffers came in and they got their claws into this campaign and they drove it into the ground. They had her running around with fucking Liz Cheney as if that was going to make the Democratic base go, oh, yes, now we must come out in even bigger numbers. No, you blunted all of her momentum by doing that. So when these guys had their way, they fucked up. Now, again, what he's saying is don't go after Trump for illegally taking over, invading Democratic cities with the fucking Marines and the National Guard and the FBI and the DEA and every fucking federal law enforcement agency you can think of. Don't talk about it because it doesn't poll well. Well, motherfucker, make it poll well. Fight. Actually fight. But the other thing is, I think he's just wrong on the substance of a lot of this shit. So if you're wondering why, hey, Kyle, it's really weird. I hear you talk about Trump sending innocent people to concentration camps. You say that on the show all the time, but Democratic politicians don't seem to say it. Gee, I wonder why that is. It's because there's assholes like fucking David Shore who are whispering in their ear, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, but they think he does, so they end up listening to him. So you don't hear Democrats, these days talk much about alligator Auschwitz. You don't hear them talk about Trump wanting to send 30,000 immigrants to Guantanamo Bay, wildly illegal, wildly unconstitutional. You don't hear them talking much about sending people to the Gulag CCOT, the Supermax concentration camp in El Salvador, where people were fucking tortured. You don't hear much about, these masked thugs, the ICE Gestapo, rounding up innocent people and detaining them for extended periods of time. No due process, no habeas corpus. You don't hear Democrats talk about the fact that Trump is drawing up plans to bomb Mexico, our top ally and trading partner. He's literally sent 3 warships and 4,000 Marines to Venezuela. A massive escalation, a massive war footing that we're on now. The illegal bombing of Iran. The Democrats didn't even fight when Trump illegally and offensively bombed Iran, a country that didn't attack us and isn't building a nuke. You're probably going, why is it Democrats are not fighting on any of these things? Because they're fucking pussy bitches, and they're listening to people like David Shore who go, see, I crunched the numbers, and when I crunched the numbers in this weird way and asked the question in a very loaded and biased fashion, it turned out people didn't like it, and people actually preferred Trump being tough on crime and tough on our enemies, and so, therefore, you probably shouldn't talk about this. So instead of talking about fascism taking over the country, only talk about the tariffs. I got an idea, bitch. How about you talk about all of it? Like, here's what I need Democrats to do. If you are not principled, if you don't actually care about all these issues that we're talking about here, get out of politics. Just get out of politics. There's no place for you. There's no space for you. If you are not looking at what's happening and you are fucking flabbergasted and furious and going insane over what's happening in this country, I need you to pick a different field. I need you to go get a hobby. Go play parcheesi or fucking pickleball or whatever the fuck. Fill your time with something else. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're in this, you need to be going, it's a blitzkrieg strategy, y'all. This is what the right does. What does the right do? First of all, they lie. I'm not in favor of lying, but they lie all the time. And they just hit Democrats over everything all day, every day. Here's 8 different things I'm going to throw at you about how my opponents are evil and they're the devil and I'm great. And let me just hammer these themes home day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. We have a built-in advantage because the things we say are actually true. But you have to hit them over the shit. Isn't it crazy? Trump launched a scam meme coin, a crypto meme coin, a big scam, ran it on his own supporters 2 days before his fucking inauguration, and no Democrats did anything about it. Trump made $3.4 billion from the White House. That's totally illegal. That's against the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. He can be impeached and tried over it. And I haven't seen a single fucking Democrat talk about it. Not a single. Every American in this country should know $3.4 billion. $3.4 billion. $3.4 billion. Why? That's the amount of money that Trump made from selling you out. But no Democrat talks about it. No Democrat brings it up. So, what do you expect to happen, David Shore? What do you expect to happen, other Democrats? What do you expect to happen? If you're not talking about the Epstein files, if you're not talking about Trump's warmongering, if you're not talking about his corruption, if you're not talking about his crypto scam, if you're not talking about his concentration camps, if you're not talking about his tariffs, if you're not talking about his inflation, if you're not talking about his unemployment, if you're not talking about his illegal takeover and invasion of blue cities, doing a fascist purge, if you're not talking about it, the facts don't sell themselves. And so people are just going to go with the narratives. And if the right's always shaping the narrative, what do you think's going to happen? So this is how we're in a situation where, in a world that made sense, Trump would be down at 28% approval rating already. Instead, he's at about 38. Now, that's not good, but we can get him way lower because basically what the Democrats have been doing is the sit back and wait approach. This is what Hakeem Jeffries likes. This is what Chuck Schumer likes. The idea is Republicans are going to hang themselves, let them hang themselves, and will win. Now, that is technically true. Democrats will win, just letting the Republicans hang themselves. But the difference is, do you want to win by 2 points or do you want to win by fucking 18 points? Right? And what I'm saying is, win by 18. Actually fight. Actually believe in something. And unfortunately, with these fucking bullshit wonk data nerds running the party, they're never going to give you the right advice because all they do is they're like a thermometer or a barometer. They're an instrument that tells you what the current status of the country is according to the polling in this moment, right? But also there's they kind of bias it too with the way they frame the questions. But all they can do is say, here's what we think it is. And then they say, all right, now you need to tap into that. But what is how do you actually win at politics? You have to be a visionary. You have to have an ideology. You have to have a philosophy. You have to believe in something, and you have to argue for it, and you have to move people to where you're at. And in this moment, it has never been easier to do exactly that because we have a corrupt, bloated, fascist, war criminal, pedophile buffoon running the country who looks like he's 7 minutes away from a massive heart attack, right? It's never been easier. All you have to do is clobber them on all the horrible shit they're doing, which is literally every single thing they're doing. And then beyond that, argue for your vision, for your worldview. Argue for, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had universal health care and you didn't go bankrupt because you had medical bills? Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if you got paid vacation time by law? Wouldn't it be awesome if we had a 4-day work week? Wouldn't it be awesome if we had Social Security for all so you can get a check and you can have financial well-being? Wouldn't that be great? Instead of arguing for let's get universal unions, let's get higher minimum wage, let's get money out of politics. All you have to do is attack them on everything they're doing and argue for your countervision. And what do you get from the Democrats? Fucking nothing. They're literally afraid. Think about this. I need you to think about this. Because of these assholes like David Shore, they're literally afraid. They think it's a bad move. They think it's a misstep if one of them stands up and says, Trump is doing a fascist takeover of this country. He's illegally invading Los Angeles, which he already did, federalizing their National Guard, sent the Marines there. Now he's doing it to D.C. He's going to do it to Chicago. New York is on that list as well. He's illegally using our military to invade the United States of America. According to David Shore, you stand up and you say that, and he goes, oh, that's a strategic misstep. Don't do that. Well, again, I reiterate, get your ass out of politics. Get your ass out of politics. And honestly, I have to say, too, I wouldn't give a fuck, even if it was genuinely unpopular, which I don't believe it is, for the record. I don't believe that is. But even if it was genuinely unpopular, there's something about leading with heart, leading with conviction, leading with the truth, sticking by your principles, saying, I'm going to tell you what the reality is and let the chips fall where they may. That is actually honorable. That is virtuous. Not this weaselly cucked shit of like constantly trying to, where's the wind going? Okay, I guess I'll say this. Fuck that. Fuck that. So I am begging, I am pleading with the Democrats. You got to grow up. You got to mature. Like, look, say anything you want about the right. They're fucking evil. They are demons. But they fucking believe in the shit that they're fighting for. Right? They want to cut those corporate taxes like nobody's business. They want to deport all the immigrants. Like, they are genuinely evil, psychopathic demons. Right? And they argue for their positions. Whereas on the Democratic side, there's just not that many who do. I don't want to overreach here, because the fact of the matter is, we got all the love in the world for Jasmine Crockett and Al Green and Maxwell Frost and Mark Pocan, and Ro Khanna is doing great on the Epstein files, for example. There's like Bernie, AOC, everybody's got their strengths, right? And some are way better than others. But I need the entire party to grow the fuck up and mature and realize we are in an existential fight, not just for the party, but for the country, for the United States of America. We're already at the point where innocent people are being black-bagged and sent to concentration camps. If that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what it'll take. If illegally bombing Iran doesn't wake you up, I don't know what it'll take. If arming and funding the genocide in Gaza, still to this day, starving people to death, if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. So, again, you shouldn't need me to say all this. This is obvious. But shout out to Rolling Stone for this article, because it really, they're correct to highlight that this is a real problem, man. This is a real problem. The data nerds got to go. Because the popularism thing, it's just a fundamental misreading of politics, misunderstanding of how politics works. Like, Donald Trump ended up getting back in the White House, and what was he doing? Talking about the immigrants are eating cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. He was talking about Arnold Palmer's cock on the campaign trail, like a week before the election, bro. That's what he was doing. And you're going to, well, sir, I crunched the numbers, and technically, if you talk about the illegal invasion of our cities, that might not poll well. That may put you at minus 4 percentage points if you bring, like, are you fucking kidding me? You're still doing this data bullshit when we're in a fight for our lives here. We're in a gunfight for our lives, and this is what you're doing? You don't know what you're doing, bro. You don't know. So all those guys, step aside, shut the fuck up, let the adults show you how it's done. Because ultimately, you can say what you want about our approach here, but can we at least fucking try it? Can we at least try? Can we at least try Democrats who actually fucking believe in something, who will argue unapologetically for an anti-war perspective and a social democratic perspective and protecting civil liberties and being pro-immigration? Can we at least try somebody who views Trump correctly as a corrupt war criminal fascist and calls that out with every breath they have? Can we at least try that as opposed to this tepid bullshit? And I got news for you. If you do try that, it will be amazing. It'll be amazing. As soon as a Democrat realizes what the pathway is and they actually lean into it, it's going to be like a wrecking ball, dog. That's why I always say Jon Stewart in 2028 would be phenomenal, because He's comedic, he's intelligent, he's got the right ideology, and he's not going to hold back, and he's going to say all the right things. And all these other people who are so careful and so scared of their own shadow and so terrified of saying the wrong thing, I'd rather have you try and say the wrong things than say nothing at all. And that's where we are. So many of them are just not say anything at all. And when we're talking about the illegal invasion and fascist takeover of our own fucking country in front of our eyes, and you're still not saying anything about it, man, that reflects horribly on you. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.